This is your prime-time forecast for East Alabama and West Georgia from Dr. Don's Weather. Dr. Don's Weather is made possible by the Randolph County Commission, East Alabama Waste, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House and Bama Diesel Repair. From the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery, Southern Union State Community College and the venue at 5 Points Farms, here's Dr. Don.
Good morning, East Alabama and West Georgia. Welcome to your Thursday. We got a lot to talk about this morning. We're going to let you know how long it's going to rain, how much rain we think you're going to get, and whether you got to worry about any wind damage as what's left of Hurricane Francine continues to move on up into southern Mississippi, maybe a little bit further to the east than was originally forecast. We'll tell you all about that coming up in this morning's edition of your primetime forecast for Thursday, September 12, 2024 on Dr. Don's Weather. Brought to you by Southern Union State Community College in Wadley, Opelika, and Valley. Thank you, Southern Union, for being a supporter of Dr. Don's Weather. Get your ducks in a row with Dukas at 256-831-7770. You can also go to the top of the video and click the Jamie Dukas link to get you over to Alpha so Jamie can tell you how he can save you money and, in a lot of cases, increase your insurance coverage. All right, let's get started. Tropical update this morning. Here's the latest forecast track for Francine. Francine continues northward into southern Mississippi this morning and is weakening. However, impacts will begin to spread across central Alabama throughout today. Now, we think overall, generally speaking, 2 to 4 inches of rainfall with locally higher amounts of 6 to 9 inches possible in those areas where storms train later this afternoon and into Friday. Tornadoes will be possible through tonight, and wind gusts of 30 to 40 miles per hour will be possible through tonight as well. So let's move forward to our next graphic. We've got a lot to show you, and so the next thing I want to look at is the severe threat for today. This really hasn't changed much in the last 24 hours. We think a good chunk of central Alabama, even into East Alabama, will stand a risk of severe weather today. Now, understand it's not going to storm all the time. You may not get a storm at all at your house today. But then a handful of you may see some of those storms, and you may see some quick spin-up tornadoes. This is not going to be like a summertime afternoon thunderstorm setup where we see a line of storms coming and we can tell you it's going to get severe, within a reasonable length of time. These are going to be feeder bands that spin up and around what's left of Francine over in Mississippi, and where you get those heavier rain bands is where you could get a quick spin-up tornado. And I'm talking very short-fused warnings if you get a warning at all. A lot of times, and we're seeing it happen this morning down around Panama City back over to Apalachicola, you get a spin-up tornado, and by the time they get the warning out there, the thing's already dissipated. That's the way this works with tropical weather. But we think that there's a decent chance we could see a handful of those across East Alabama, maybe even West Georgia, as we get into the afternoon hours, especially this afternoon when we get some heating of the day going. Then on Friday, we're talking about marginal risk of severe weather again across East Alabama and West Georgia. A brief tornado would be possible on Friday, but I think the chances of that happening will be much better this afternoon. Then as we look at the flood watch, there's a brand new flood watch out that covers most all of west, central, east Alabama and portions of West Georgia. This flood watch will stay into effect throughout the duration of this event. Now, again, this is not going to be a widespread flood issue. It's going to be those areas where we have training, where we get one storm right after another, right after another, right after another in the same locations. I talked to you a good bit about that yesterday and last night when we did our live update, in that because this storm is going to be moving almost due north, it's going to be dragging moisture up off the Gulf of Mexico, and we probably will see one, maybe two big rain bands or feeder bands set up with this hurricane. And so as the storm moves north, the feeder band's going to move north with it, which means that it's going to be bringing moisture up over the exact same locations time after time after time as we go throughout today, tonight, and into tomorrow. So those will be the areas. Now, whether that is in central Alabama, east Alabama, west Georgia, or even central Georgia, we just can't tell you at this time. I'll show you on radar in just a few moments where I think we may be seeing one of those feeder bands begin to establish. So we can give you kind of a general idea of at least which counties need to be on high alert for the possibility of training as we get into this afternoon. Then as we look at the wind, we do have a wind advisory in effect, and you can see the counties here on the graphic that are covered by this wind advisory. We're talking sustained winds of 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts to around 45 miles per hour. Now, that's generally speaking. If you get caught under one of these very heavy tropical downpours, you could see wind gusts higher than 45. But I think that will be few and far between. We're not looking at widespread, very, very strong winds. Gusty winds, of course, can blow around unsecured objects. It can get trees, it can get limbs, and that, of course, brings down power lines. So I think that there is a decent chance we could see some scattered power outages across Alabama, even into East Alabama, even the counties that are not in the wind advisory, and that would be Randolph, Chambers, Lee, Carroll, Heard, Troup, Harris, Meriwether, and Coweta. You're not you're not in the wind advisory this morning. Could that change? It certainly could. They could add you to it as we get in to the afternoon hours, and we'll watch to see if that happens. But from that point to the west, all of you are in this wind advisory that's in effect through midnight this evening. There's one more look at the track this morning. The storm's continuing to move off to the northeast. We are anticipating a turn to the north, but I got to tell you, it's moved a little bit further to the northeast than was originally forecast. We said the storm is going to run right up the I-55 corridor. It's moved maybe 30 or 40 miles further east than I-55 this morning, but that turn to the north should start at any moment because we do have that wedge effect that's pushing back into Georgia, and that's going to kind of act to steer the storm back up to the north and then continue up to around Memphis by this time tomorrow or tomorrow night, I think, which is where it will stall out, just northwest of Memphis. Current conditions at this hour, and they range widely across the state of Alabama, but in Chambers County, where our weather gauge is located at 5 Points Farms, the venue, it's currently 65 degrees. The wind is out of the northeast at 2, gusting to 6. That will slowly increase as we go throughout the day. Humidity is 80%, the barometric pressure 30.05. Dew point 59. The high yesterday was 75.5. We do have rain in the area. Sunrise this morning at 6:24, and the sun sets this evening at 6:54 p.m. Here's your 6-day forecast from the Alpha Weather Center. Jamie Dukas, your local Alpha agent. A 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms this afternoon. A possible quick spin-up tornado. It could happen, so make sure that you are weather aware. Make sure you have multiple ways of receiving severe weather information. Understand today's tornado warnings, if there are any, could be short-fused, meaning the Weather Service is not going to have a long time to give you a heads up. So stay close to a good source of weather information and make sure you stay close to a safe place so you may not have 10 or 15 or 20 minutes heads up in some of these warnings that are issued this afternoon. 72 will be the high, down to 68 tonight. 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms tonight. These are tropical showers and thunderstorms. On Friday, a 90% chance of showers and thunderstorms. As we get toward the afternoon, the rain chances will come down some, but It's beginning to look a lot like rain for most high school football venues across East Alabama and West Georgia on Friday night. Your rain chance is at 80%. Then on Saturday, a 60% chance of scattered showers and thunderstorms. 78 will be the high, 50% chance Saturday night. Then on Sunday, finally, maybe only a 30% chance of rain. We could even see the sun from time to time on Sunday. Same thing out there on Monday and Tuesday, down to a 20% chance of rain by the time we hit Tuesday afternoon. Southern Union State Community College live Doppler HD radar, and there you go. A big blob of rain covering Arkansas, northeast Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, northwest Florida, Georgia, even up into Tennessee, and the Carolinas experiencing rain this morning, all associated with what's left of Hurricane Francine. We do note one tornado warning that is underway, and we'll take you down there to northwest Florida and show you that's near Port St. Joe. That is a tornado warning that was issued by the National Weather Service out of Tallahassee about 30 minutes ago. And that's going to continue moving to the north, maybe a little bit northwest. That should stay away from Panama City. But here's the point I want to make. All of those different areas you see down there that is yellow and maybe has a little red involved in it, any one of those are capable of producing a quick spin-up tornado. That's what you're looking for today on radar. The greens are just rain, breezy at times, but those yellows and those reds are the more heavier downpours, and that's where you could see those quick spin-up tornadoes. So if you're watching the radar this afternoon and one of those yellow areas is approaching your location, be on heightened alert for the possibility that you could get a quick spin-up tornado. And the radar looks a little bit different from what we typically see during the spring and fall months when we have those severe thunderstorms. Typically, you look for red. But when you're looking at a tropical system on radar, those yellows are a lot of times are indicative of severe weather within the complete rain band. Now let me zoom back out and show you that this is where this is situated in relation to East Alabama. So this is East Alabama and West Georgia. This is our coverage area between I-20 and I-85 in East Alabama and in West Georgia. The hurricane, or what's left of Francine, is sitting over here north of New Orleans, and we expect it to start taking that northern turn. So if the hurricane continues to move to the north, or starts to move to the north, it's going to pull all of this due north as well. So what does that mean? If this takes place, then all of these yellows and reds in the area where we're seeing the most significant weather, rain-wise, is going to pull right over East Alabama and West Georgia. Now let's talk another scenario. So far, the storm has moved a little bit further to the east than we thought it would. So if it continues on to the east for another 25, 50, or 75 miles before it makes that turn to the north, then this area is going to drag across West Georgia. So you can kind of see this is the area down here in the Gulf of Mexico where we think that heavy feeder band is beginning to set up. And wherever the storm starts turning north, it's going to drag this complex right across those areas. It looks pretty plausible right now that that's going to be across East Alabama and West Georgia, which would cover all of our coverage area later this afternoon and into tonight. So I'm just making sure everybody in the area understands you do want to stay weather aware, especially as we get after maybe 1 p.m. this afternoon into the overnight hours this evening. Of course, we'll keep you updated here on Dr. Don's weather. Busy morning this morning. It's going to be a busy day. If you get a chance, please go over to our weather store and support us by picking up a coffee cup, a t-shirt, or a baseball cap. You can also go to the top of the video. You'll find a clickable link up there that will carry you over to our weather store. If you're on the YouTube, it's at the bottom of the video. You'll also find multiple different ways to support us There's all kinds of links up there at the top of the video you can click on to support us, and we hope that you'll consider doing that. We need all the help we can get to keep this going here on Dr. Don's Weather. So, be weather aware today. We will keep you updated. Have multiple ways of receiving severe weather information. Never, ever rely just on Dr. Don's Weather or an app on your phone. Have all of them so that if one way fails, the other way, you'll have redundancy so that you'll be sure to get that weather information. And just be close to your safe place in the event that you get one of those quick spin-up tornadoes in your community later on today. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, we'll see you back in here if it becomes necessary with coverage this afternoon. If not, I'll see you back in here first thing tomorrow morning for another edition of your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's Weather.
This has been your primetime forecast for East Alabama and West Georgia. From the Alpha Weather Center, powered by Southern Union State Community College, the venue at 5 Points Farms and Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery, Dr. Don's Weather is supported by the Randolph County Commission, East Alabama Waste, Southern Auction Solutions, Genesis Weight Clinic, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, the Town of Wadley, Auction 431 South, the Salem Auction House, and Bama Diesel Repair. Be sure to like us on Facebook, share us with all of your friends, and subscribe to Dr. Don's Weather on YouTube. We will be back tomorrow morning with another edition of your primetime forecast on Dr. Don's Weather.